Okay, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Scars and Scriptures. As you can see, I'm not in my normal location, so I got earphones on to cancel out any noise. But today we are going to be interviewing Ashley. So a lot of you warriors and I were in this project, and we talked about health and fitness and how hard it is to do that with a chronic illness. And I kind of gave my own input, but I thought, what better way than a warrior herself who has fought chronic illness and now teaches other and helps others on their fitness journey. So, Ashley, I'll just have you introduce yourself.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. First of all, Crystal, thank you for having me. I was very honored when you asked me to be a guest. And so I am Ashley Nicole. I'm the founder and autoimmune health coach of RA Warrior Fitness, where the mission is to empower women living with rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune conditions to improve their quality of life through faith, food, and fitness. And I do that by helping them to, reduce inflammation in their body and also to increase energy, all through using faith, food, and fitness. Those are my pillars in that order. I'm also a professional bodybuilding athlete. I'm a best-selling author and the vice president of Inflamed Sisters Thriving, which is an amazing nonprofit that supports chronic illness warriors, helping them to thrive beyond their diagnosis, to stop hiding and start thriving. And yes, I am just happy to be here and excited about
She
this
booked and
conversation.
busy, y'all. She is booked and
Booked and
busy.
busy, honey. Yes, because this has been on the calendar for a good 3 weeks at least. So yes, yes, booked and busy, but I'm just so grateful, so blessed.
I'm so excited. So,
Mhm.
real quick, if someone wanted to get in touch with you on social
Mhm.
media or to find your book, how do they find you?
Yes, yes. So on Instagram, my handle is Ashnick, ASHNIC underscore RA Warrior Fitness. And then on Facebook, RA Warrior Fitness LLC. And you can honestly just Google me, honey. I am Googleable. That's the word.
That's how you know you
Google
made it.
Ashley
That's how you know
Nicole,
you made it.
rheumatoid arthritis, honey. Everything gonna pop up, okay? So just Google me.
Yes, I love that. Oh my goodness. So I'm
Yes.
I'm so excited to jump into this conversation. So can you share a bit about your own personal journey with chronic
Mhm.
illness and how that got you started and what you do now?
Yes, yes. So the RA in RA Warrior Fitness stands for rheumatoid arthritis. So I have had rheumatoid arthritis for 21 years and counting. And so I started experiencing joint pain and discomfort in my hands and wrists when I was 21 years old. I was in college, I was working in retail. So I thought that my hands were just achy because of the constant use of folding clothes and cleaning out fitting rooms. I played the saxophone for years. So I was like, oh, my hands, they just tired. But no, I literally woke up in my dorm room one day, full body flare. What I felt in my hands and wrists, I felt in my whole entire body. And so that lasted for a few days. I went to urgent care and they didn't really do anything. They just told me to take some Tylenol or leave. And so literally that's what I did for 6 years. I took a leave for 6 years just to kind of put a band-aid on it because I also was in denial about what was going on with me. And then finally, I was able to get a referral to get a diagnosis because within that 6 years, I managed to gain 60 pounds, not realizing that I was feeding my disease with food and alcohol, unhealthy food and alcohol. And so by the time I got my diagnosis, I had severe joint damage in my hands and wrists that couldn't be reversed. But she said we can definitely work together to stop the progression of it. And so over the years, I've had some trial and error with medications. As sometimes it's hard to find something that actually works. And so, even in the process of that, an infusion that was actually working for my RA actually triggered some lupus markers. So I had medically induced lupus for a while. No symptoms, praise God, because we know that lupus is very, very debilitating, depending on the severity of it. But I tested very highly positive for it, and it was because of that medication. So had to come off of that, figure out what works for me. And then in the process of all of that, I started working on what I could do. I'm like, okay, Ash, what can you do besides taking these medications that the doctor's throwing at you
I
that
love
can
that. I
help
love
you.
that. What can
Yeah,
you do? Because a lot of
yeah.
times we feel helpless. We feel
Hmm.
like, this is something that's happening to us and we kind of are on the outside looking in, or we feel like
Right.
you hear, okay, there's no cure, but there's stuff that you
Hmm.
can do. What can
It's
I
something you
do?
can do.
I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. So, there was no one like me, like you, the way we're using our platforms now, there was no one really talking about it and how you can thrive with something like this. So I just kind of figured it out. Like I found a workout that worked for me. I started jazzercise because I like to dance. And then I started really monitoring my food and what I was putting in my body, and just kind of self identifying some triggers that I knew was causing my inflammation. Sugar, alcohol was definitely one of them, processed food. So, I just started cleaning up my diet, drinking more water, and minding my business, girl.
Listen, that's a
So,
key part right there. Minding your business,
yes,
giving yourself rest,
that's
because
right.
it takes a lot of
Exactly.
energy to be in other people's business.
It does. It does, honey. We don't have time for that. But yeah, so that's it in a nutshell. Like I just really fell in love with the process of, adapting to my new body and the symptoms I was dealing with. And I was like, if I can do this, I know other people, are dealing with this and would like to be able to become healthier and fit regardless of living with an autoimmune disease. And so that's when I decided in, I think 2019, I became a certified personal trainer. From there, earned several other certifications to become a master trainer. And then fast forward to 2020 is when I started RA Warrior Fitness. So when the world was shutting down, I was starting my online business, and the rest
There
is
we go.
history.
We love that. Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Powerful.
Hmm.
That's a powerful journey in itself. And the fact
Thank
that you
you.
are, advocating and teaching people how to support themselves in these
Yes.
situations. Because the hard thing, right, a lot of times for people is giving up food or feeling like they're having to give up food. So what
Mhm.
helped you in that journey in adjusting your food, or what substitutes did you find that other people can kind of glean from, so that they know, like, I don't have to stop this cold turkey, or there's other
Yes.
alternatives that taste just as good?
Right. Yes. Yes. It's definitely a journey for sure. And honestly, one that I'm still navigating. Because let me tell you, it's something I know I'm eating now that's flaring up my eczema. I don't know what it is, but it's something. But, anyways, I will say that I definitely had to change my relationship with food, right? I had to realize that I needed to eat to fuel my body, to eat foods that I love, but that also love me back, because there are a lot of foods that I love that don't love me back, and my body lets me know. So even now, when I want a treat meal, I have to think, okay, if I eat this, am I willing to suffer the consequences? Am I willing to, risk being inflamed and flared up for a few days if I eat this cookie or this brownie or this piece of cake? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So definitely finding a healthy balance helps. And I will say that with your like food that you cook, it's so much better when you can cook your own food, because eating at these restaurants and fast food places, like, you just don't know what they're putting in there. And a lot of what they're putting in there is not good for us. Like, let's just keep it real. But I found ways to still make my food taste good. Like, it's still healthy, but it still tastes good. So, like, I have become such a fanatic of seasonings. It's this brand called Caribbean, and so
Never heard of
he
that.
has these amazing seasonings that are gluten free, they're anti inflammatory, and very, very tasty. Super low sodium, but very tasty. So, I do the ground turkey, the ground chicken, the chicken breast, chicken thighs every now and then. So, try to keep my meats lean, but seasoned very well. I air fry them, even my wings, because I love chicken wings. So instead of eating fried wings, I'll season them up real good and I'll air fry them. And it still gives me the crisp, of a chicken wing. I love potatoes. I do, even though they are a nightshade, the white potatoes, but sweet potatoes. I learned to love sweet potatoes. I make my own sweet potato fries. Even if I'm out somewhere, I'll order those and I can still get that taste of the potato without
No,
having to deal
definitely.
with, being flared. What are some other swaps? And for the sweet tooth, I love to just make a big fruit bowl and drizzle honey and squeeze some lime juice over it. So, so good. So, so good. I love a
Listen,
good
well,
fruit bowl. Your
that
berries,
lime, that lime takes it to the next level
it
every
takes it
time.
to the next level. It does. It does. So I just, like I said, you just have to kind of shift your mindset, kind of change your relationship with food and really eat according to what your goals are and how you want to feel. Because one thing I can say is going through my bodybuilding journey and this whole health and wellness journey, I learned how to eat to fuel my body and to not just overeat and stuff myself and eat so much of the wrong things. Because until I started that journey, I'm from a small town in Alabama, okay? We eat until we ready to like go to sleep, okay? Like we eat
To
until
the
we get
itis kick in.
this. Yes, yes. And I thought that was normal. Girl, that is not normal. You don't have to get that full to where you have to go to sleep. Like your food should fuel you, it energize you, not make you want to lay down. So
Mhm.
it's like once I learned that, it's like I don't want to go backwards. And when I do, I just be like, oh my God, okay, I need to be more careful. So I hope that answered your question. Did that answer your
Yeah, no,
question?
I love that. And like two thoughts from that. Though one is this for the culture. If you guys grew up watching Martin, the episode where he was dieting and he was like, "I don't eat to live, or I don't live to eat. I eat to
I need to
live."
live.
Like
Yeah.
you
Uh-huh.
got to change your relationship. Maybe not that extreme, but you got to change your
You
relationship.
gotta change your relationship. Absolutely. Absolutely. Eat to fuel your body
And so
and to
something that
keep that
I've
inflammation
noticed
down.
is that I don't flare very often anymore. And one of the
Mhm.
doctors, surgeons I talked to, she was like, "Oh, that's probably because your inflammation's so low." But I do
Mhm.
still drain, right? I still have these drain. I still drain
Mhm.
from these tunnels that I have, and that's
Yeah.
due to inflammation. And so I was made a video, and I was talking to folks in the HS community of
Uh-huh.
just because you're not flaring doesn't mean your inflammation is under control, right?
Right.
And so the
Mhm.
flare is kind of like the end result. Your body is screaming, there's
Yeah.
too much
Yeah.
inflammation. But there's other things. I made a video talking about like anemia, like chronic
Mhm.
inflammation and like just different things that have to do with inflammation. You might not flare. So you're like,
Right.
oh, okay, I can eat these foods because it's not going to cause
Mhm.
me to flare, but there's other things going on because of all the inflammation still in your body. And so I've been
Exactly.
trying to tell myself that because I'm like, well, I don't flare. And I was like, Crystal,
Uh-huh.
you still have a lot of inflammation
You
because
still
you're still
have
draining all the time. Like,
yes.
how are we going to get that under control? And so that we
Mhm.
can get because I just got diagnosed with being anemic. So we can get these
Okay.
other things under control as well because the inflammation is still impacting your body, even if it's not
Right.
causing a flare. So
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
definitely
that's a
am
good
trying to
point
get
to
on that
make.
journey of
For
changing
sure.
my relationship.
Yes, yes. And it's a constant journey because even though like I said, I've had RA for 21 years, I've been coaching consistently for five, like since 2020. Like, I still don't have it all figured out. I'm still learning things about my body and, of course, learning things that I can coach my clients on. Like, you can never stop learning, and it's just part of the journey. It's part
No,
of the journey.
definitely. But
Mhm.
that seasoning is gonna definitely be a game changer because one of the things I talk
Yes,
to people about is they're like, "Oh, I don't know why I'm so flaring." I'm like, "Well, what are you seasoning your food with? Because
what
I
do you
guarantee you
season?
there's a nightshade in there. I
Exactly,
guarantee you there's
exactly.
something triggering you in the seasonings that you're using."
Mhm,
And
yeah,
so finding someone who's making seasonings that are good but aren't going to have those things that are
mhm,
gonna inflame you, makes it a lot easier to then try to, okay, how do I mix up my own seasoning? Because sometimes
exactly.
sometimes we get lazy when we cook. We don't wanna have to try to blend our own stuff, but we
To
want the
blend it
ready-made
all up.
seasoning.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, that definitely it makes a difference. It does. It does. Like those nightshades and it can be so sneaky. You know what I
Yes.
mean? But yeah, down to the seasonings, we have to be mindful.
No, definitely. So
Mhm.
with that, the nutrition part of it, which is
Mhm.
definitely a great part. I think that's probably more than half the the battle, honestly, in my
Oh,
opinion.
yeah. Yeah.
But how did you start working out? Like, I don't know with
Mhm.
RA if it's as debilitating or like make it really hard to move like with HS, but how did you
Mhm.
be able to move your body and, get over the fatigue, or like what workouts did you do in order to kickstart this journey?
Yes, yes. So I knew that I needed something that I would enjoy as well, which is why I joined the jazzercise class. So I don't know if you're familiar with jazzercise. You might be too young to even know about it, but
I know Zumba.
um, it's kind of okay. Yeah. So listen, this is kind of an old school old lady class. Okay, think Jane Fonda, dance. But anyway, super fun though. Like it was something that I knew I could do, and I was the youngest one in there, girl. But it was fun. It was fun. It was like maybe a 45-minute dance class, and they would show us low impact exercises and moves and everything. And so that really helped. And so doing that, and also just figuring out gentle movements that worked for me, because when I was first getting started on my journey, I was so intimidated by the gym. Like, no, I'm not going to the gym, which is why I felt more comfortable in a class. And so I started with that. And then too, sometimes you want a sense of the community. Like I love the community of being able to go to the class and meeting people and knowing that there were other people in there like me, whether they had joint issues or not, but they were still just starting off and just wanting to be active. And
Hmm.
so yeah, so I started off with jazzercise, and then once I got more comfortable with that, I was like, well, maybe I do want to join a gym. And so joined a gym, and it was still very intimidating, but thankfully that gym had classes as well. Now, one thing I did struggle with, Crystal, is making the trainer realize that there were some things I couldn't do that everybody else was doing because of my limitations with arthritis. Because mine is in my wrists, my hands and wrists. Like, you'll never see me do a push up. Okay. You'll never see me do anything weight bearing on my hands. And so I was always left, like, while everybody was on the floor doing push ups or something, I was like, okay. And that's one thing that really motivated me to become certified, to become a trainer. I was like, there's definitely got to be ways that I can still achieve the results I desire without having to sacrifice, jacking up my wrist even more or putting pressure on it. And
No,
so,
that's important. Like,
yes,
is advocating for yourself, not just with your doctor, but in all spaces, like
in
with your
all
personal
spaces.
trainer. Like,
Uh huh.
I can't do this. Sometimes you hear your personal trainer barks an order and you're like, okay, I got to do it. But
Yeah,
you know your body. If you can't do it, you
exactly.
can't do it. Like, don't try to
You do
push
it.
yourself to the point where you don't go back.
Exactly, exactly. And so, yeah, so honestly, that literally is what motivated me to become certified, is because I became so frustrated going to these classes and, them not really knowing how to help me or to show me some other ways to do things. Now, I had a couple of good ones that would, but then some would just kind of forget about me, and I'd just be standing there looking crazy. so
Paying just to stand there.
yeah. But yeah, yeah. So like, just figuring out what works for you. Cause I often tell people, like even my clients that come in, whether they have worked out before or not, or if it's been a while, or if they're just starting, like, I meet them where they are. We start with gentle movement, stretching, even stretching in the bed before you get out of bed. When you sit up on the edge of the bed, there are things that you can do just to kind of get the body going. Yes, exactly. The neck rolls, okay, the
Yeah.
shoulder rolls, all right. And so, yeah, and I even do workouts that can be done seated in a chair. And then from there, we just continue to work our way up as we get stronger, because movement is medicine. I'm a living, walking, breathing testimony. Movement really is medicine. You've just got to find the right kind of movement that works for you in the season that you're in.
Definitely. So with your workouts, do you have any that are kind of catered to isolated body? Like, how do you do that with people with HS, like I can have a
Mhm.
flares in my arms where I can't move my arms, and
Yes.
then some days I might be
Yes.
flaring and I can't move my legs. And so of
Mhm.
like it's like this journey of like, okay, I can't do this work, I can't do this workout, or feeling like you can't
Yeah.
do anything because you just never know where you're going to be flaring to. Like, do you have a
Right.
program, or are there workouts where you can be like, okay, I'm going to do this isolated thing?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because I actually had a client with HS, and that was my first time actually hearing about HS. I had never heard about it before then. And this was probably 2021. She found me on Instagram. We booked a call, and, I already saw in the notes that this is what she had. So I went and did my research, and I was like, okay. And there were some times where she wasn't able to do certain exercises. Now, the great thing is that with us doing it virtually, um, I did have a live class where I was actually able to show her and coach her different ways than what everybody else was doing if it was something that she couldn't do. Because her flares would often happen kind of like under her arm. And
Hmm.
so sometimes it was hard for her to do, the shoulder presses or to do anything that was lifting. And so, I was able to be like, okay, well, let's focus on the core. Here's some other things that you can do that you can still get the full benefit without aggravating, your arms. So absolutely, there's always a modification. And then sometimes there's a period where you might just have to rest, a few days, where you might have to kind of sit it out. And you just really have to be so in tune with your body that you just know that, okay, there's a time to push through and there's a time to just take a couple of days off and focus on, another body part. And as I said earlier, focusing on what you can do. Okay. You can't control the flare, can't control what's going
Hmm.
on with your flare ups, but you can control what you're drinking, what you're eating, how much rest you're getting, your sleep, and all of that, how you're feeding yourself spiritually, what are you listening to, right? That's why mindset and faith is so important in my program, because on days when the body is not doing what you want it to do, sometimes our faith is what we have to fall back on. And honestly, it should be always what we have to fall back on because it should be the foundation of everything. So,
No,
yeah.
definitely. Going into
Mhm.
that, how has
Uh-huh.
faith influenced your relationship with your body, and health, just in general?
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I've always had a strong relationship with God, but I will say it has been strengthened over the years, especially going through my health journey. I know that I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my faith and my belief in God. And not only that, but also the belief in myself, because the
Mhm.
pillar of faith, it can go a couple of different ways, having faith, of course, in a higher power. And then I've actually, worked with people who are not believers. And so I'm like, okay, how much belief do you have in yourself that you can rise above this? How are you speaking to yourself? Because words carry so much weight, which is why I love affirmations and
Mhm.
writing and reciting affirmations that are relevant to you, because what works for me might not work for you or inspire you, right? But I can definitely say that scripture and me staying in my word and just being in a constant flow of keeping faith as my foundation has really helped me to continue to keep thriving, to thrive, to build my business and to reach more people. And a lot of people often say that that's one thing they love about my program is the faith component, because they never thought about inviting God into their fitness journey. And I'm like, you want to invite God into every space of your life. Why not invite him into your health and wellness journey? Because at the end of the day, his word is what we have to lean on, especially on
Oh,
those days when we're
definitely.
frustrated with, where we are with the flares, how we may be feeling. But I know me personally, I can always find comfort in the word.
No, definitely. There's one thing,
Mhm.
like what you said, like your thought and like what you're saying. And so I
Mhm.
spoke at an event, and I'm a firm believer in this. The
Mhm.
scripture say there's death and life in the power of tongue.
The
And
power, ooh,
so
it's power in the tongue.
you
Yes.
you can speak life into yourself, or you can speak death into yourself.
Mhm, mhm,
You can make that sickness even worse by how you
mhm,
speak to yourself, and the mindset that you have. And
mhm,
um there's I mean, there was a period in my time in my life, right? And I think we all kind of handle it a little bit different, of like you
uh-huh,
have the faith, and then things don't work out and they continue not working out, and you're like,
mhm. Being
okay,
tested.
God, where you at? Where you at in all of
Mhm,
this? And
mhm.
so just kind of being discouraged and kind
Yeah.
of like losing that hope. And I would say
Mhm.
at those in that time where I was like, okay, I'm done with you because obviously you done with me, was the hardest part of the journey,
Yeah.
though. Of,
Right.
it you in my opinion, right? You can't just walk away.
Right.
And you, because I can't walk away from the illness. I can't walk away from God. This is
Mhm.
just something. The scriptures, we all have our cross to bear in this life,
For
and
sure.
this is my lot, right? I can
Yeah.
choose how I want to bear it. I can
Mhm,
choose if
mhm.
I want His help in bearing it. Um,
Yes.
and when I invited him back in, right? Because
Mhm,
we
mhm.
walk away, he don't walk away from us. So when I invited, like,
Yeah.
come back,
And
yeah,
he always welcomes you
it was
back.
me, it was me.
Yes.
Uh, but it completely changed.
Exactly.
Like, it changed my mindset, it changed my heart, and it changed
Mhm.
how I approached, this chronic illness, or how this disease, right? That there's
Yeah.
no cure. Started focusing. Okay, what can you do,
What can you do?
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I also want to say too, Crystal, that I think once we finally realize that we can actually turn our pain into purpose and power, and that God can use these conditions that we have to help other people. Because some people, and I know I've even asked this, why me? Why am I going through this? And then I had to ask, why not me? Why not me? Maybe I am the person that God wants to use, for me to use my platform to reach other women who are feeling as hopeless as I did when I was first diagnosed. And I feel like he's definitely, I know he's doing that with you too. I mean, look at you using your platform to reach other HS warriors, other autoimmune warriors. Like, he's turned your pain into purpose and power as well. So all that you went through, all of that pruning, for you. It was for
Definitely.
the lives that you touch. And I was listening to a sermon on Sunday, and he said something. He said, "People are attached to your yes," which is so true. And the yes can be accepting the calling, being obedient to what God is calling you to do, like to use your platform like you're doing now. Like, other people are attached to it. So just think, if you walked away from God, and just, threw your hands up and just thought that, HS, this is what if you
Hmm.
took that route? Then you and I wouldn't be sitting here right now. You
No,
know what I mean? We
definitely.
wouldn't have met at the Inflamed Sisters Thriving Summit in Gala. You wouldn't be touching the lives that you're touching now. And same for me. So, I look at it that way too, that, like, some, like you said, we all have our crosses to bear. And it's not always just for us. Like, someone else is attached to it.
No,
And we
definitely.
have to.
The old saying of, what the devil meant for evil, God will
Uh-huh.
use
Yeah.
for good.
Man, listen, Romans 8:28. Okay. He always turns it around for good. He does. He does. Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that we wouldn't be sitting here, because you are actually the inspiration that got me back on track, right? Because I was Jonah in the whale. The Lord, because I had this, maybe it was a year and a half ago, right? I had
Uh-huh.
the Lord put it on my spirit, like, okay, you're reaching so many people with HS, and people are like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm tuning in from South Africa, or I'm from India, like all these
Mhm.
places they were dropping where they were coming in from. He was like,
Yeah.
from the four corners of the earth, like, with the gospel. And I was like, "Ugh, people don't want to. I don't want to step on toes. That's not what they coming here for." And then I
Mhm.
started posting more about that, but then got kind of like the videos didn't do well. And then a couple of my friends was like, "You need to go back to your niche." And I was at the
Mm.
Inflamed Sister event, and you were talking about your
Mhm.
faith and how you couldn't separate faith from the journey. And I came up
Yeah,
and I talked to you afterwards, and I was
I
like,
remember that.
I struggle with that because I feel like I need to have that faith component, because in my honest story, there is no faith.
Mhm.
There's no healing
Mhm.
without the faith.
Without the
And
faith.
I was like, okay.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, you know what? Scars and Scriptures was born
Mhm.
because I have to be
That's some
obedient to
scripture.
the call of
Yes.
take the gospel to the four corners of the earth, but I have to be, to also the call of like my heart and like what I feel like my purpose is also as far
Right.
as like advocating. And so I was like,
Mhm.
and the Lord told me that a year and a half ago, right? He's like, you don't have to separate the two.
Right.
Invite me into every situation. And I was like, I don't know how to invite you in without it being all churchy.
Mhm. Yes, but it's like but you've done so well with it though. You have. And like, I feel like the people that you attract, like those are going to be your people. Yes, sometimes the post might not get as much engagement, but that's okay. People
Hmm.
still watching. It doesn't mean that they're not inspired by it, because there have been people that have come into my program who were not really spiritual, religious at all, but even though I didn't, I don't force anything on them. I meet them where they are, but they still, you can't, so people can't deny the anointing on you. Okay. The anointing on
Hmm.
us. So like it's bound to rub off. And like, I've just seeing them evolve in their journey has been so beautiful. And so you're right. Like you don't have to separate the two. Like God is love, and he wants to be a part of all of this that we're doing. And let me tell you, this might be getting off topic just a little bit. I promise I'm gonna reel it back in. But in January, I finally made the decision and came to the realization that there were certain things that I was trying to do on my own, like in terms of relationships and other areas of my life, that I wasn't fully letting God into. And it was finally January 1st, where I was like, okay, I surrender. I'm gonna invite you into all of these areas, which means I'm gonna have to let some people go. All right. So I had to release some people from my life, release some habits. Okay. I haven't had a drink since New Year's Eve. I had to release a lot of things. And it's when I did that, like just the favor,
Hmm.
it's just been so amazing to see. I'm like, that's all I had to do was let go of that habit and let that person go. And now you're blessing me with this. So, even think about it with in terms of we were talking about relationship with food. Like, what is it do you think that you think you might need to let go of, whether it's food, person, place, or thing, in order for you to feel better. Because stress also is not good for us, right, sis? Like,
Hmm.
stress is
Right.
not good for anybody, but especially if you're living with a chronic condition that can cause flare ups. What is stressing you out that you need to cut and
Yeah.
surrender
Might
and
gotta
give
let go
up?
some dead weight.
Let me tell you, I've had
And
to
that
do
that
that
might
time
be
and time again.
people.
It might be people. Girl, I had to let go of a whole husband 6 years ago. Okay. Like I was married for almost 13 years. And I can tell you now, sis, I wouldn't be where I am today if I would have stayed, because the negativity was just so bad. And like, yeah, I'm
That
getting off topic right now.
No,
But
no, no,
you
I
get
love
my
that because
point.
you choose your heart, right? It goes back to it's a thought that I had earlier. We choose our heart,
Yeah.
right? It can be hard choosing better food. It can be hard letting go of people. It can be hard,
Mm-hmm.
planning your day in such a way so that you have more time and you're not stressing. But
Yes.
also, it can be hard having a full body flare. It can be hard,
Yes.
having your chronic flares, flaring up in multiple
Mhm.
places all the time. We have to choose what
Yep.
heart do you want, You want the hard
Exactly.
for a moment of letting this person go, or the hard,
Mhm.
of like, okay, let me choose a better food, or do you want the
Mhm.
hard of like, I have this chronic health issue
Yeah,
that isn't getting better and in fact is now triggering other health issues. Like something's
exactly.
gonna be hard either way. It's
Something's
gonna be
gonna be
hard.
hard, something's gonna hurt, something's gonna make you cry. Like it's gonna be that season where you're just like, oh my gosh. Cause I went through that. I was at the gym, girl, like crying over, this person that I had to let go. But when I tell you, God spoke to me and was like, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And when I tell you it was so
Amen.
clear, it was so clear, girl, I wiped my eyes, and like a few days later, it's like he poured out a blessing that I just was like, wow, wow.
You
So
know the old
yeah.
saying, fake it till you make it. I
Yeah.
heard Pastor Mike, so
Mike,
MJ, he was like, yeah, yeah, from
Jay.
Alabama. Yeah.
Yes, Pastor Mike Jr. Oh, I
I
love me
love
some
him.
PJ girl.
He said we don't fake it till we make it. We faith it till we make it.
We faith
You
it till
know.
we make it. Yes, yes. Girl, go back and listen to this past Sunday sermon because that's the one where he was talking about people are attached to your yes. Girl, it was
Okay,
so
I have
good.
to go because I haven't listened to this Sundays, but yeah, I'll have to go back and
Mhm.
listen to it.
Yeah.
I discovered him like 6 months ago, and
Hmm.
I've been listening to going back 5 years, just listening to everything
Yes.
put out.
Yes, he's amazing. He's
I was like, I
amazing.
gotta go up to Alabama one of these days and
Uh-huh.
go ahead and join the Rock Nation.
Exactly. Rock City. Yes,
uh,
yes.
so, what are some common misconceptions people have about like working out with a chronic illness? Like, have you come across
Um,
people who have like some type of misconception?
yeah, yeah. A lot of misconceptions that I come across is that exercising will make their condition worse. That's probably the one that I hear the most is that exercise will actually exacerbate their symptoms
Especially
when
with because you hear about the sweating with HS, like, oh, I don't want to sweat.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
um,
Yeah, 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 for sure. So, I definitely hear that. And, each person, of course, is different. And the clients that I work with, sometimes I do have to take a different approach. Like honestly, always, because no one client is the same. Because my RA is different than the next person's. Your HS, could be a little different, but we all do have some of the same misconceptions. And so my advice for that is just to start with where you are and just know that you don't have to go all in and just know how to do it all. You just need to find what works for you. Work with someone, with a professional like me that can help you to navigate that. Here's a good example. So, I'm a coach in this group on Facebook called the Courageous Fitness Community, and we launched a jump rope challenge today. And so, I made a modifications video last night to post because there are several people in the group who might have who have joint issues and they're just not wanting to jump, right? And so I'm like, okay, let me show 3 or 4 modifications where you can still participate and your feet don't even have to leave the ground. All right. And so I posted that video in my stories. You'll have to go check it out. It's in my stories now. And an HS warrior reached out to me and was like, hey, I want to be a part of this group because watching this modifications video made me feel like I can do this. He was like, because I'm not able to jump, but I can definitely do the arm movements and I can, still lift my come up on the balls of my feet, flexing my calf muscle, like I can do that. And I was like, absolutely, you can. And so I was able to add them to the group, and he's super excited to get
oh,
started. And
well, add me
so
too.
I'll add you too, girl. Yeah, so you'll have to let me know how I can find you on Facebook so I can add you on there. But it's just giving people hope and giving them options of where they can start. And again, it goes back to focusing on what you can do.
No,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Um, Back at school, I don't know if anybody else school used to do this. We used to do jump for heart every year. It was like a jump
Yes,
rope
yes.
competition. So I ain't gonna say I'm like an expert, but your girl can jump.
You
So
can jump. Let's go. Let's go.
put
Yes.
me in, coach.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot
But
of fun.
I love that. So one of the things
Mhm.
I told some of the warriors that were in this group conversation that kind of started the talk about fitness was like I
Mhm.
personally went online and started looking at videos of people who are disabled, whether
Uh-huh.
whether they're in a wheelchair or whether they don't have arms or whatever. Wherever I have
Mhm.
my flair that I can't move that body part, let me watch someone who's working out who
Yes.
has permanently they can't move that and they figured out a way to work out. And so like I
Mhm.
found some modifications, but I love that because a lot of times we kind of don't think outside of the box, right? We just think, "Oh,
Right.
I can't jump rope because my legs or, it's too much move." Because I mean, it's a full body movement.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and so, but then when you look at someone make a modification, you're like, "Oh, wait, I can do, 50% of that or 70% of that, which is
Mhm.
better than no percent of it."
Better than no percent. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And you're right. Like, sometimes it does help looking at people who also may have some limitations and just seeing how they do things. Cause I don't know if you follow Mad for Many on Instagram, but she has a limb difference. Yeah, so she has like one arm, like she doesn't have a hand, I think, on her left hand. And like she has rheumatoid arthritis. She's had it for years, but let me tell you, Mad for Many, Colleen, she finds a way to get stuff done, girl, like she does. And she's just so inspiring. And there's something for everyone. We've just got to figure out what it is and to do it consistently.
Okay, so I'm interested in, and y'all maybe I'll have to book a class. That way we can get
Yeah,
um 7 or 8 different workouts where you give us
yeah,
modifications and then I can, we share
yes,
it with the community. Like I'm a book a class for y'all and for me because your girl needs to work out too.
yes,
Um but so we can
absolutely.
get some different modifications to these workouts because
I would love that.
um that's again, I think that's the hard part is like we don't think of just kind of outside of the box, right? we
Mm-hmm,
just we
mm-hmm.
just hear we can't or we think we can't and we don't look
Right.
for ways to disprove that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I can't do it. And it's
Yeah,
like, no, you can do something though.
you can do something. You can do something. Yep. Because today I did a class. I work part time at a local nonprofit here, and we're actually doing this whole wellness challenge in June. And so I actually took them through a class. I did the warm up out of my book, Strong and Fit After 40. And I went through and modified because I had different age ranges, different body types, different fitness levels. So I'm like, I need something that's going to work for everyone. So I'm going to get up and just show you, like, jumping jacks, for example, how I
Okay.
was able to modify that. Hopefully you can still see me. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Oh, and I like them
regular jumping
leggings.
jack is this. But some people don't want to do that jump, right? But you can step tap, still put making those arms go up. Or if you have trouble putting your arms over your head, you can come up halfway, still step tap. And then another modification is raising that knee. Okay. Again, your arms can't go up super high. It's still in motion. And let me tell you, like, I'm feeling this right now.
So,
So don't
um, is there
underestimate
one?
small movements.
Is there a way that what would you do for someone who like couldn't move their arms, like they have a flare under their arm, and so like
If they
just
have
maybe
a
in that
flare under
movement?
their arms, then we probably just wouldn't mess with the arms. We would just do a high knee march.
Again,
Focus on
just
the
any
lower
movement
body.
is better than no movement. You get
Hmm.
in movement and steps in. That's what's
Yep.
important.
Exactly. Exactly. Keeping that core engaged. Just focus on the lower body.
Yeah, I love that. Like,
Hmm.
it's very much of like not having a defeated mindset. Because
Yeah,
sometimes that
exactly.
I think that's one of the reasons that kind of feed. And I fell into that category for a long bit. Like I can't do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
No, you can
If
do
you say it, then
you can do it. You can do it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So you have to believe it.
whether
You
it's
can.
a walk, just a slow walk. You can do a slow
Mhm.
walk.
Yep.
Um, and so when I was at this skin um it's like for skin various different skin diseases event I was speaking at, and someone was
Mhm.
there doing like sitting, like you were saying sitting, but it was doing stretches in the seat. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I do feel this. I very
Yeah,
much feel these stretches. And so again, just
exactly.
moving your body, and being
Mhm.
intentional with the movement.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the key word, intentional.
So no, I
Mhm.
love that. Love this one. So how do you help patients or your clients separate their physical limitations
Mhm.
from their self-worth?
Mm, that's a really good question.
On the spot.
On the spot. Okay, repeat it again.
So how do you help? Because there's the faith, mind, body aspect that you
Yes,
have. How do you
yes,
help them
yes.
separate their physical limitations from their
Mhm.
self-worth?
From their self-worth. Yeah, so I think it goes back to words carrying weight and truly just changing the narrative about how you even speak to yourself and what you say to yourself. Um, I'm gonna give you another example. This morning, as we talked about the jump rope challenge, this lady, before she even started, she was like, I can't jump real high. My feet really don't even come up too far off the ground. Like she just started speaking all that before she even got into it. And even though when she started jumping, like she was actually jumping. I was like, girl, your feet are coming up off the ground and you like not skipping a beat. Like, what are you talking about? And so I messaged her and I was like, let's change the narrative. I said, instead of saying what you just said, let's say I can jump rope. I'm a wonderful jumper and my feet elevate easily off the ground. And I do this with ease because I am capable and I have the ability to do so. And so, she kind of put like a little, the little care emoji on it. And she was like, thank you so much. And so sometimes, you just have to really check how you're speaking to yourself and knowing that you are worthy of achieving the desires of your heart and achieving your goals and your dreams, knowing that it may look different but it's possible. And one other way that I do this is asking my clients to identify their why. Like, why do you want to become healthier? Why do you want to improve your quality of life? Why is this important to you? And a lot of people say, I just want to feel better. I want to be able to go on vacation without having to stop and take breaks. I want to be able to play with the kids and to be able to attend their games. I want to be able to lift my luggage into my overhead bin. I
Hmm.
want to be able to, do all these different things. And I think when what they're doing is attached to a why, it really does help them to know that they are worthy of making it happen.
Yeah, the why
So,
behind the pain point, right? Like
yes,
that's gonna be what drives you when you want to quit.
yes,
When you think
exactly.
about, okay, let me bring up to you the why you told me in the beginning. 'Cause
Mhm,
right now,
mhm.
you if after you feel like you're giving up on yourself, but let's go
Yes.
back to your why.
Let's go back to your why, and I make them identify five whys, and we often have to go back and revisit that sometimes, and it always triggers them. I've always heard your why should make you cry. Like, your why should be
Right.
that important to you that it makes you cry.
No,
So,
definitely.
mhm.
I love that. And the I can't remember exactly what he said, but Pastor Mike's brother, I was listening to his sermon this morning.
Yes.
But he
Uh-huh.
was talking about being in purpose, and like, when you're in purpose, like it's something that should be moving inside of you. It shouldn't be
Mhm,
just something that
mhm.
you do. It should be something that really affects how you feel. And so,
Right.
and I think when it affects how you feel, it affects what you're willing to do and what you're willing. to put in, right? Because
He
some
does.
days it's
Yeah.
easy to skip the gym. Really easy
Right.
for me to skip.
Yes.
But like when you again when you revisit that why, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, I want to be able
Mhm.
to run and play with my kids and not get winded, or I want to be
Yeah.
able to go on this, this hike, or I want to just have better, better health, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then
Just
it's
feel
like, okay,
better.
I'm not gonna skip the gym today, like, because my why
Mhm.
is too important.
It's too important. Absolutely. Should drive you every single time.
No, I
Every
love that.
time.
And
Mhm.
and what you said to your client again, focusing on, like, 'cause there's two sides to every story, right? It's the
Mhm.
side of, oh, I can't jump that high, I can't,
Mhm.
whatever it is. But then there's the, oh wow, I'm able to jump, I'm able to
Yeah,
move my body. And
exactly.
we could choose to focus on the limitation, or we could choose to focus on, wow, I was able to do all of that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I was talking to, like, I was at a workshop on a therapist when she was talking about, like, sometimes we focus on things that we hate about ourselves, like, oh, I hate my arms, like, they jiggle. Um,
Mhm.
y'all see her arm, she nice and toned, it's defined. And and so, but she was talking about, we say that we hate these things that do so much for us. She's like, these arms, like,
Yes.
think about what this body part that you say you hate does for you. It allows you to, cook, your food. It allows you to
Mhm.
embrace your loved ones. It allows you to, like you said, put your luggage. You don't have to call somebody. Like, it,
Exactly.
it allows you to do all these things, but
All
you
these
focus
things.
on the fact that you don't like the way it jiggles.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
we got to
Exactly.
kind of retrain our brain of, like, okay, so you don't like this part. Let's move past that. What is this
Mhm.
doing for you?
Yes.
What is the how is this thing in purpose, or and how is it benefiting you? And let's focus on
Mhm.
that. We can work on training and, getting
Yes.
this.
Yes.
We can work on that, but first,
That
before we
can
even work
be
on that, we got to change how you look at it. I don't want you to
exactly.
focus on, oh, it jiggles. I want you to focus on, wow, it allows me to cook. It allows me to embrace my loved ones. It
Yes.
allows me to do
Yes.
all of these things. And in the midst of, I'm going to continue to do better so that,
Yes.
it can do or look the way that I want it to look, or,
That's right.
whatever.
Learn to love
So,
yourself right where you are and just continuing to improve so that you can continue to love yourself even more, you know? Because I know me, I used to be really self conscious and still I have my moments. I told you I have eczema. Like I've had eczema since birth. I tell the joke. I'm like, I came out of the womb scratching. Okay. Like literally, there are baby photos, toddler photos of me just clawing. Like I'm just scratching in every picture. It's so crazy. But at 41, like I still do with eczema flares. And I know that it's something internal. I just feel like it's something that I'm eating. So, instead of me beating myself up about it, because yesterday when I was outside trying to record that video, I was looking, I was like, man, really flared up there, back there on my calves behind my knee area. But then I remembered, how far I've come as well. And just remembered, okay, Ash, like, there is something you can do to fix this. You just got to pinpoint what it is that you might need to eliminate from your diet that could be causing it. And girl, I think I know what it is. I'm in denial. Let me tell you what it
Hey,
is.
that's the hard part right there. Confronting the truth. British.
Okay, so according to my blood type, according to heck, AIP, I should not be eating peanuts or peanut butter.
Mm,
Girl.
mm. I
And
had
I even buy the powdered peanut butter. I even like don't even buy the jar of peanut butter because I eat it so quickly. I buy the powdered peanut butter that has way less calories, way less fat that I have to mix up myself. But
mhm.
I still feel like I eat too much of that. It still got peanuts in it. Girl, I know I have a peanut allergy and I continue to eat.
I'm gonna go back and watch the video because when I had the functional health, doctor on, and she gave
Uh-huh.
me a substitute that doesn't aggravate you, like with the with people who have the peanut allergy, because I was talking about peanuts because I started using
Oh,
sun butter. And she was like,
okay.
because she was like no to the sun butter as well. And but there was another one, and I think it was Tigers. I'm gonna go back and watch it and I'll let you know. But
Please let
so
me
you can
know.
give it a try.
Please let me
But that's
know.
the thing is,
'Cause
you cut out so much stuff that it'd be hard. Like the things that you have left, you like, I really like this.
yeah.
A little peanut butter in my smoothie in the morning time goes a long way.
Yes. It does. It does. I love it. I absolutely love it. But I notice when I do cut back from it, my skin gets better. It does. And I know that nightshades are a thing. Like I love salsa. I used to buy salsa pico de gallo every week. I had to stop because it was messing with me. It was. So I have that every now and then, every now and then.
Do like a food. We're going to do a food boot camp where
We should. Listen, that's a
you,
whole
you
nother topic, girl.
it's
That's
gonna be
a
like real
whole
world. You enter the house, you leaving everything. I don't know if you ever watched this movie. It was like Disney Channel Fat Camp, where you get they
Mhm.
you leave all this food behind, and then
Yeah.
they like force you to be healthy and like eat these healthy foods. It's gonna have to be like that in order to reprogram your brain. Because the thing
Yeah.
is, like your taste buds change, but you got to train
Mhm.
them to change them.
Exactly.
And if
Mhm.
you keep going back to your favorite foods that cause you to flare, it ain't you ain't ever gonna train them, right?
Yep.
But it's
So
hard
true.
when it's real easy to go right down the street to get what I want.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. Yes,
But
girl. We're gonna have to tackle that another day. But
yeah, we gonna
we
work
all
on it.
have our vices. Peanut butter is mine.
No, that
Absolutely.
definitely, and that's the thing. Is like with it being a journey, right? It's not
Mhm.
somewhere where the expectation that you reach this point and then you're like it's nirvana. Ah." Like
Right.
it's a journey of continually speaking life into yourself, continually
Mhm.
making good, better, best decisions when it comes to working out and to eating.
Exactly.
Not every day is going to be the best. Some
Mhm.
days you're just going to
Mhm.
choose good, and some days you're going to choose better. But the
Yeah.
fact that you are mindful in what you're eating, mindful in the things that you're doing, um, and it's important. And I say this all the time to allow yourself that grace. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
we are imperfect people, just trying
Exactly.
to run this race. And I say this all the time about almost everything. The the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak, girl. The
I be
flesh.
willing. I give it up
Ooh,
in a minute, but the
yeah.
flesh, like
The flesh, honey.
I am but flesh and bones.
Yes. It is so true. Like that's a real thing, honey. Yeah. Yeah. But
Uh,
we're human. So, like you said, we just have to give ourselves grace and, just take things one day at a time, one meal at a time, one rep at a time, one foot in front of the other.
that's right. I love it. We got a
Mhm.
little AA over here.
Yes.
Just one step.
That's right.
uh, that's so good. I'm so glad that you were able to come on. I'm excited. Is there a link in your? Because I am going to sign up to do a class so we can get
Okay.
some an
Yes. Yes.
actual
Yes.
video footage and well, one, I just need to be better with my working out.
Yeah. For
I meet with a
sure.
nutritionist, and I've been saying I'm gonna find a personal trainer. I was like, I'm gonna get into a gym, and then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I found some workouts online. She's like, have you been doing them? I'm like, well, I watched the video once. I watched them work out, and I was like, I know
Right.
what to
I
do.
just
I know what to
watched
do.
them, but I didn't participate and join them. But
I'm
yeah,
almost
so
there.
I'll send you a link because normally to work with me, there's a process. So normally we do a discovery call for me to kind of learn about you, so I can kind
Hmm.
of see how I may need to tweak your program. And then I'll take you through a trial in which you'll be able to participate in my virtual class on Tuesday, and then also kind of see what my virtual library looks like as well. And then we'll do a health assessment, and from there, determine if we want to continue to work together longer term. But I'll definitely want you to come for sure and do a class. So I will send you that link for that.
Definitely, warriors. We are
Yeah.
excited to be able to get,
Yes.
you know, a class from the master. You know,
You're so sweet.
um, and you
Thank
guys,
you.
I'm gonna try to remember when I post this, put the link in so that you can go get her book. And
Yes.
whether
Strong
you're
and fit
40 or
after
not,
40.
whether you're
That's
40
right.
or
Whether
not,
you're 40 or not, let me grab one so I can show the people what it looked like.
look at her. Ain't she cute, y'all? Look at her.
Yes, strong and fit after 40. So yeah, so you can find this actually on Amazon, and then it's on the women's health website as well. And then if you want a signed copy, then just DM me and we'll do that a little differently. So I got some copies here too if you want a signed copy.
Perfect. Yes. And so this has been good because I mean that's everything, right?
Yeah,
Mind, body, nutrition. Literally
that's
what
it.
Scars and Scriptures is. We talk with therapists, we talk with, warriors, and we talk about the medical component. But
Yes.
this call right here encompasses it all. It's like the faith component, the mind
Mhm.
therapy, spirit, and the whole food and body aspect of it. And
That's
so
it.
this is full circle, and it makes sense, y'all, since she's the one who kicked me in the butt to to get on the good foot.
Yes, scars and scriptures. I absolutely love it, girl. You are definitely walking in your purpose and power, and I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of
Thank you,
you.
thank
And I'm
you.
so grateful that our paths crossed and just looking forward to the next time that we meet again in person.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Well, any final thoughts or words? What is something um, that you would tell somebody who thinks their body is betraying them? This is, and I think it would
Mm.
be a very interesting coming from you because of the mind body nutrition aspect. If somebody's body is betraying them, like what would you say?
Yeah. So when I think I'm known for my phrase of saying, rise up, warriors, rise
Mm.
up, warriors. So that's what I would tell you. I would tell you to rise up, warrior, even if you feel that your body is betraying you, even though it probably really is. There's still a way that you can rise up and show up for yourself and focus on what you can do and what you can control, and rising up in a way that you are surrendering what it is that you're feeling, surrendering it to God, and knowing that where you are now is not where you will always be. Yes, you may have to continue to manage this condition, but it won't always be in the state that you're in. And you have to believe that for yourself. So, rise up in every area of your life, show up for yourself, advocate for yourself. I tell my clients that all the time because a lot of times these doctors will try to gaslight us and make us feel like we're crazy. You're not crazy. You're not alone. Okay. You have a community. So I would say just rise up like the warrior that you are and just know that you are more than your condition. You may have HS, but HS does not have you. I have RA, but RA does not have me. So just know that it does not have you. You still have the ability to rise and thrive.
I love it. You
Yeah.
guys, ain't she so poetic? All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on another
You're
episode of
welcome.
Scars and Scriptures, and we'll see y'all next week.